All right, friends, it's time to give you loyal listeners a discount on protein powder. You may or may not know, but I launched my very first protein powder 2 years ago. It's a grass-fed beef isolate with only 3 ingredients: grass-fed beef, either organic cacao or organic vanilla, and organic monk fruit. Now, if you don't want any of the added flavor and sweeteners, you can also just get unflavored. And no matter what flavor you choose, you're getting over 23 grams of protein per scoop, which is going to keep you full and satisfied between meals. I love starting my day with a Fab4 smoothie and breaking my fast with that much protein. It makes a serious difference in my cravings and blood sugar balance the rest of the day, and I've seen it with my clients as well. Now, I never thought I'd own a product company, but when I got pregnant with Sebastian, I realized the majority of protein powders were chemically extracted or enzymatically extracted, and I wanted to use heat and water only. I wanted minimal ingredients because we don't need those emulsifiers, fillers, or added vitamins, minerals, and probiotics. All of those additions increase the chances that it's not going to work for your body, whether it be bloating, digestion issues. I just wanted pure, clean protein to keep you full and satisfied so you could build the most delicious Fab4 smoothie. And I have to say, I'm pretty proud of the flavor. If you take a look at our reviews on Amazon, you'll see 5-star reviews for flavor. And that is key, because if you don't love your Fab4 smoothie and you don't love drinking your protein powder, you're not going to do it. It won't become a habit, and it's consistency that outpaces everything. So if you're here and you're listening and you want to give our protein powder a try, use the code PODCAST5 for $5 off your order. And let me know if you love it. My favorite ways to apply this protein powder is in my Fab4 smoothie, making freezer fudge, making chocolate milk, making hot chocolate, and throwing the unflavored into all my kids' baked goods. So let me know how you use it. Let me know if you love it, and share this podcast deal with your friends. Hey guys, welcome back to the show. I just want to say thank you so much for reviewing the show and leaving a note. It really allows other listeners to find us, and hopefully we can impact their lives with healthy, nutritious content and scientific information. Also a dose of motivation, which I think is what everybody needs nowadays. So here's one of my favorite reviews so far. And this is from Melly J127. One of my biggest pet peeves with podcasts is that the interviewer loves to talk and be the expert on all things. Kelly actually allows her guest to be the expert she is interviewing. She doesn't interrupt, asks thoughtful questions, and the interviews flow nicely. Aw, thanks so much, Melly. I appreciate it. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's guest. Today's guest is my friend, Laurel Gallucci. She is the founder of the very popular grain-free bakery, Sweet Laurel Bakery, here in Los Angeles. So if you're out here in LA, hit up the bakery. It's in the Palisades and it's worth every bite. Laurel's also the author of the Sweet Laurel Bakery, or the Sweet Laurel cookbook, which shares all the recipes from her bakery. And she's set to come out with a savory cookbook next. Laurel is a wife and a mother of 2. She is also one of the sweetest people I have ever met. And today I'm bringing her on the show because after going 100% grain-free on an autoimmune protocol paleo diet, Laurel completely reversed her Hashimoto's. She's in remission and no longer needs to take synthetic hormones. Now, with the number of people being diagnosed with Hashimoto's, I want you to know her story. If you've ever been diagnosed, you really should consider an autoimmune paleo diet. In fact, a 2019 pilot study found that with 16 women who had Hashimoto's and followed this protocol, after 10 weeks, they showed significant improvement in quality of life and symptom burden. Now, they didn't see a significant decrease in thyroid antibodies, but it was only a 10-week study. Healing takes time, and I know there's someone that needs to hear this. So if you're dealing with Hashimoto's, you should consider an autoimmune protocol paleo diet, and you should give your body the time to heal like Laurel did. So without further ado, let's welcome my friend Laurel Gallucci to the show. Laurel, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining. I'm so thrilled for the audience to get to know you as an entrepreneur, as a mom, and also as someone who's dealt with an autoimmune disease. So why don't we start with, what was the inspiration for starting Sweet Laurel, and when were you diagnosed?
Yes. Well, first of all, Kelly, it's an honor to be chatting with you today. Thank you for including me. You are such an inspiration to so many women and men. And thanks for including me. So I'm delighted to be here.
Oh my gosh. I thought of you. I literally thought of you the minute I was coming up with the idea of having like a little bit of a female forward, female founder type of a podcast that had a wellness twist. I knew that I wanted to include you because your health journey basically led you to starting your company.
Yeah. Yes. So as background, I was diagnosed with Hashimoto's disease in 2012. And at the time, it was shocking. I had been this super active, athletic, like energy filled, early 20-year-old person. And to be sat down in a doctor's office and told I had a chronic disease was shocking. I literally like cried. I was like, I can't like be sick. I can't rely on medication for the rest of my life. It was like a really sad moment for me because, I had lived, my whole life being this like happy, energetic person. And at first when I was diagnosed, the symptoms hadn't really come to fruition quite yet. And so I was treating it medically as Hashimoto's disease is usually treated. And I was treated with Synthroid, which is a synthetic thyroid hormone that makes up for the thyroid hormones that your body's not making. And so this was kind of like the business as usual approach to treating Hashimoto's disease. And after about 2 years of being treated that way, my symptoms really started to flare up and I actually started to get worse. And noticed that I indeed was not the early 20-year-old that I used to be. The first thing that I noticed was that my energy declined significantly and it left me completely, completely without energy for the bulk of the day. So I was working as a school teacher at the time and it was really hard to actually work because I was so tired all the time. And then I noticed that my physical output was also much lower in that, like, if I was on a hike with family or friends, like I would walk so slow. And as someone who used to play college volleyball and was like very active, this was shocking. And I remember one day I was at work actually, and I was at the base of a staircase that was pretty steep. And I was like, man, I don't want to walk up that staircase. Like that, like sounds like it'd be kind of hard. And
wow.
Yeah. And so like for someone like me who ran on the beach every day and like was a Pilates instructor and a teacher, like this was shocking. I was losing my energy.
So how, it's kind of crazy to me because most of the time people see multiple doctors before they can get a diagnosis of an autoimmune disease. And you walk into your doctor and you're being diagnosed with this autoimmune disease before the symptoms even start to really kick in your body. Why were you at the doctor? Was it just like a regular?
So basically, what happened was I was at like a routine OBGYN appointment.
Wow. Okay.
And my OB was like, you have a goiter. And I was like, really? And he did like I want to say it was like he did like a little scan.
Like an ultrasound of your thyroid.
Yeah.
Okay. So for those of you guys listening, a goiter is a nodule. If he was able to see it, it was visual or palpable, meaning you're on your neck where your thyroid gland is, there would have been like a little bit of a bump or a nodule that he would have felt. Because your OBGYN should be doing breast exams and thyroid exams on you, especially if they're doing if they're the only doctor doing your full blood panel every year. Okay, so he feels this or sees their goiter and then uses an ultrasound like he would to check for for Nico eventually.
So he basically was like, you have striping on your thyroid. This means you have autoimmune, like you probably have Hashimoto's disease, and I'm going to do your blood work to confirm. So, at this point, my heart's racing. I get my blood work done, and he got back to me, 2 or 3 days later with the diagnosis.
Wow.
Yeah. And like I said, I was shocked. I was so sad, but he kind of made it seem like a lot of people had it. And at the time I was like, really? Cause like no one talks about this. And it turns out Hashimoto's disease specifically, and all autoimmune diseases are on the rise. Like so many people are being diagnosed with them. And I mean, I'm sure you see it in your practice too, Kelly, but it's one of those things where, a large part of our society has it. I have, my philosophy why, and so do various other people, but we're living in a different day and age than, our mothers and grandmothers. And, there's various environmental toxins, our food is different, and like we're using crazy cleaning supplies. And I think that's really affecting why it's on the rise.
Oh, I totally agree with you. I think it's twofold though, right? Because one, once there is knowledge of autoimmune diseases out there, you have more doctors diagnosing, more doctors having that type of diagnosis on top of mind. They're looking for symptoms. They're looking for markers on blood tests. So you're going to see more people being diagnosed, but what's causing the diagnosis or what's causing the breakdown? And I think you're exactly right. You're talking about everything and anything that would break down any type of bacterial barrier to your body. So, whether your body is attacking it itself and you have celiac disease or Hashimoto's disease or rheumatoid arthritis, I mean, all of these autoimmune diseases is the body attacking itself. And the reasons for that is a lot of times the reaction of the immune system.
I know for me personally, I truly feel that my autoimmune disease was induced by the craving of antibiotics I took in college. I was on them for I remember being on them for months. And I think that weakened my, gut flora significantly enough to take away that barrier that, you were speaking of earlier, and inducing the autoimmune disease.
So let's get back into how you started taking care of yourself and getting off. Did you end up getting off of Synthroid? Are you still on Synthroid?
So basically what happened was when I hit that wall of it's been 2 years and I'm getting worse, I'm not getting better. It got so bad that I had to quit my job as a school teacher. And it was a situation where, my husband, my dad, my family, everyone was telling me, Laurel, you really need to take a year off and rest. That's the right decision. My dad told me, and he's a physician, he said, you cannot put your health off another year. And that really stuck to me because I was like, yeah, you're right. I'm 26 and I'm so sick that I can't work. This is a problem. Mm-hmm. So I took a year off of teaching. And I started working with a functional medicine medical doctor. So she was an MD who, Harvard trained medical doctor who decided after having all her children to get functionally trained. And so she really has an interesting approach in that she has that strong medical background, but is also functional in her approach to healing. And I started working with her, and she literally took one look at me, knowing that I had Hashimoto's disease, and told me exactly what I needed to do to feel better. And she was she asked me, she's like, Laurel, what are you eating every day? And I told her, well, it's funny you ask. I have this breakfast that I love. I start every day off with sprouted Ezekiel 4-9 bread and peanut butter. And it's my favorite thing. And then, I told her my other favorite things that I ate. And she was like, okay, so here's what I'm going to tell you. I want you to go completely grain-free, completely refined sugar-free, completely dairy-free, completely legume-free for a year. And I guarantee you will feel better. And, this was kind of shocking to hear. I was really surprised. I had heard of this paleo lifestyle movement happening, and I had never made the correlation that it actually could affect your health. And so I gave it a try. I like that night, I went completely grain-free, refined sugar-free, dairy-free. And it was pretty remarkable how quickly I started to feel better. And the number one thing I noticed was that my energy did start to come back. I had other things wrong with me that she also addressed. Like I had a very messed up gut, and she put me on a really strong gut healing protocol. And I also had noticed, throughout the sickness that I stopped having a period. So I had secondary amenorrhea. So like the three things I was basically treating were the Hashimoto's disease, the digestive problems, and the secondary amenorrhea, which is, you're not ovulating. And, slowly but surely, as I went through this healing through food journey and gave this lifestyle/diet a year, I started to see body systems come back online. And the energy came back. My digestive system got so much stronger, so much so that I forgot to mention this earlier, but my doctors, before I changed my diet, when I went to them and told them, I'm extremely constipated, I haven't gone to the bathroom for like a week, they literally put me on Miralax.
That's what they all do.
Yeah. So they didn't address the issue. They gave me a Band-Aid fix. And I knew that was weird. And I also hated taking it. It was so disgusting. But I needed it. I wasn't digesting food, and I didn't know about this whole, healthy gut protocol that I could have tried as well at the time. Mm-hmm. And so it was pretty cool for me. And I know this is like TMI, but so quickly into my healing journey to not deal with something like constipation anymore. Like it's not an issue, and it hasn't ever been since I addressed, this gut healing initiative. And I really do think that's because of, all of the work I did there. And then the third thing that I was addressing was, the lack of a menstrual cycle. And that was like a whole other thing that it took like 2.5 years to get back to normal after I made my diet change. But let me tell you, the amazing thing is I was able to get pregnant after, not ovulating. And, every time I would get my hormones checked, like estrogen was super low. All those reproductive hormones were super low. And I miraculously got pregnant with my son, Nico, in 2017. And my autoimmune disease has been in remission ever since. Nico just celebrated his second birthday, which is amazing. And literally on paper, Hashimoto's doesn't show up. I have 0 antibodies. And I think that antibodies, by the way, are when you have Hashimoto's, your body is in that autoimmune response attacking your thyroid. And those antibodies are what is actually like going to battle against your own body. And so, typically with Hashimoto's, your antibody levels are like 200 or something crazy if you have a bad case of it. And so typically every time I got my blood work done, I was in that like 200, 400 range. And now when I get my antibodies checked, they literally don't show up. I have negative antibodies, which is crazy. And I truly think it's a testimony of the diet and lifestyle change I made. And it's all kind of what led me to starting Sweet Laurel, which we haven't even touched on that. But it's that I still am grain-free, refined sugar-free, dairy-free, legume-free, and successfully feeling amazing every day. And I'm in remission. So it's been so awesome. I haven't wanted to change my diet.
Food is medicine, and it's obviously worked for you. I think there are so many little nuggets of information. I know so many of my clients deal with constipation issues. I have a number of patients and clients that I work with that have lost their period at a certain point in their adulthood. And it's really interesting that you mentioned that it's that it was a secondary diagnosis, because I think a lot of people, when they stop menstruating and stop ovulating, they think that that's the number one issue. And they don't dig deeper, and they don't find out if they are having or dealing with any other type of autoimmune disease. So it's really great that your doctor no one wants a goiter, but it's really nice that you had one, so that you were able to, your doctor was able to be proactive in diagnosing you. Because it is a Band-Aid society where Miralax to make you go poop and Synthroid to get that thyroid going is the way to go.
Yeah.
And you can really do so much more with the food that you're eating.
Yeah.
So let's get into your business, baby.
Yes. It's been an amazing journey. So basically, when I started my new lifestyle / diet change, going completely grain-free, refined sugar-free, dairy-free, it took about 2 weeks for me to notice, like, oh my gosh, I can't eat anything. Like nothing at the store. I was like, there's like not a cracker, not a brownie, not a bread, nothing. And like, this was back in 2014. And back then, I know it sounds like it's not that long ago, but back then, there really were not as many options as there are now for people eating this way. And I quickly noticed that if I wanted a cracker or a piece of bread or a brownie, that was something that I would have to make myself. And so baking had always been a hobby for me. Cooking was my favorite thing to do. So very quickly, I began making my own food. And my husband kind of challenged me. He was like, I don't want you making 2 dinners every night. Like, just like make what you can eat, and like, I will be so happy. So
first of all, her husband is the sweetest man on the planet, by the way.
He really is. He's so sweet. And, really awesome in encouraging me along this healing journey. So like, I started cooking everything. Like I said, all meals, I started making my own coconut yogurt. That recipe's in the Sweet Laurel cookbook as well. And like having that for breakfast, and then doing like really awesome like salads and proteins and vegetables, and adding in fun things like crackers and tortillas. And so like, I was just nourishing myself. And then when like the first family birthday party came around, I was like, you know what, I'm going to make a cake I can eat. And so I started making, cakes and brownies and things like that for celebrations with ingredients that I could actually eat on my new protocol. And it was pretty amazing, because I realized that baking grain-free, refined sugar-free, and dairy-free was actually quite simple, and not as complex as conventional baking. And when I was using ingredients, which I now call my 5 core ingredients, in unison, they were creating an amazing, like textured, yummy, structurally sound, like not dry at all, like amazing product.
What are those 5 ingredients?
So my 5 core ingredients are almond flour, coconut oil, 100% maple syrup to sweeten, Himalayan pink salt, and organic eggs. And so those things in unison really created this amazing product. And, something that was moist and decadent and did not in any way, shape, or form make you feel like you weren't enjoying the real thing. So, and that was kind of when my business partnership came into play. I brought a cake I had made, our chocolate caramel cake, which is our bestseller at Sweet Laurel. I had brought it to my friend Claire Thomas's house. Her and I had been friends forever. We both grew up in Santa Monica and had so many things in common. So we were friends, and I brought her this decadent cake, and she was like, this cake is not paleo. There's no way. It's so good. Like, you're telling me this is gluten-free. Like, she could not believe that it was so decadent compared to most other gluten-free, vegan, what have you, baked goods. And she's like, Laurel, you have to share this with people. It's amazing. And, she's very established in food, an amazing food stylist, photographer, creates amazing recipes. And so hearing that from her, I was like, I think I could do this. And like, she encouraged me, and we started this together. And that was May of 2015. So not too long ago, but we started, and we started baking cakes for people. And I basically literally did the entire operation out of my home kitchen. I was a cottage lot industry at the time. So if someone ordered a cake from our little website that we created, I would like hand deliver it to your door in LA, Orange County, Ventura County. And that was how we started. And then after about 9 months of that, the demand got greater, and there was wholesale interest beginning to spark. So we leased a commercial kitchen and did all of our production out of there. And the business just slowly but surely began to grow. And, now our cakes ship nationally. All of our products ship nationally. We're in grocery stores. And also this past summer opened our first retail location in Pacific Palisades. And so now for the very first time, this is like a huge deal. Sweet Laurel Bakery has a bakery you can go to and sit down and enjoy a slice of cake and some delicious coffee or a superfood latte. And it's an amazing thing to offer to the community, because from the beginning, we had this amazing, committed, strong Instagram family of people who really loved Sweet Laurel, everything it had to offer. Loved the healing through food component, the aesthetic component, the fact that we decorate everything with organic roses instead of food coloring and frostings and things like that. So, now people can actually come into the store, and it's amazing. Like every day we're getting people coming from different states and different parts of the world and different, little enclaves of Los Angeles through social media. So that's really fun and awesome. And my overall big picture goal is just to be able to share it with as many people as possible, whether that's through our cookbook, which is amazing. It's called Sweet Laurel Whole Food Grain-Free Desserts, and it's available wherever books are sold. And we have a secondary book coming out called Sweet Laurel Savory, which is going to be all savory items in spring 2020. And, there's people coming to find Sweet Laurel through our cookbook every day, which is awesome. And through our products and, little stores that we sell in. So it's been a fun journey, and we're hoping to just like share it with the world.
I think one of the biggest, why clients are discouraged from, really taking their diagnosis and taking on their health and trying to, clean up what they're eating and feel better is because they don't want to miss out. Mm-hmm. They've lived a certain way for so many years. They're used to eating a certain way. And, being able to celebrate the way that you celebrated your life after your diagnosis and, made home cooked meals for your family is you decided to make it happen and to take care of yourself and show people that you can do it with 5 ingredients. If you were to pick 2 recipes, like one from your, maybe 1 or 2 from your sweets cookbook and 1 or 2 that's coming in your savory, what would you tell people to look out for? Mm-hmm. What do you think is kind of, or maybe the staples or where people should start?
Yeah. So just via Instagram, I know the answer right off the bat. The 2 most made recipes in the cookbook are our chocolate chip cookies, which are 5 ingredients, and our double chocolate brownies, which are also 5 ingredients, if you don't include the chocolate chips. And they're so delicious. Like these 2 recipes can be made with 1 bowl. It's using those 5 ingredients I spoke of earlier, and just the perfect, stand-in for their gluten-full, sugar-full counterparts. Like literally people cannot tell the difference. It's amazing. And we have people making them weekly, all the time for every party and sharing about it. So that's been a really fun thing to see. And another thing that's really awesome is we are when I first started Sweet Laurel, I saw the two products that I could not buy at the grocery store that are essential for baked goods. I needed to make myself. And those were vanilla extract and chocolate chips. So these two things, if you go to the grocery store, even Whole Foods or, health food stores, they don't have grain-free, sugar-free, soy-free options for these. So like you'll find gluten-free vanilla extract at the grocery store, but it's not grain-free. And sometimes the gluten-free, they use glycerol as like the holder of the vanilla. And so what I did with vanilla extract is I started making my own vanilla extract with tequila, and it creates this amazing product that when baked is delicious and has no resemblance of a margarita. People ask, no. It might smell like it when you're about to pour it into your batter, but it does not taste or bake off like a margarita. It's delicious. It's anti-inflammatory. It's completely grain-free and sugar-free. And then chocolate chips we started making in-house because you cannot find one that's without cane sugar or soy, even at health food stores. Mm-hmm. And so we work with a chocolatier who is handcrafting chocolate chips for us using just cacao and maple sugar. And it's an absolutely incredible product that we are launching very soon and hoping that gets into every grocery store soon. So be looking.
That's so exciting.
Yeah. Be looking out for that. That's a super exciting project we're working on. But we're also doing some really fun like launches of other products too that you Nico in the background.
It's really cute. It doesn't matter.
I know. So yeah, be looking out for those types of things. And in the savory book, the two things that I highly recommend are, so one would probably be Claire's amazing bagels that she figured out. Like she figured out how to make the perfect grain-free bagel, just because she's amazing and can like make amazing things. And so she figured out a grain-free bagel that is out of this world. And then I would say my personal favorite is the Raisin Bran. And for me,
wow.
Raisin Bran, yes. So like Raisin Bran, like growing up, if I ate cereal, it was Raisin Bran. Like it was like growing up my favorite thing. And it was so funny when I was pregnant, I craved Raisin Bran. And I was like, I have to figure out how to make this because I can't eat it. And so the recipe for Raisin Bran is literally my favorite and so good. Like it's crunchy, delicious. It has like perfect little amount of cinnamon in it. It's so yummy. And my favorite recipe probably in the new cookbook that will be out next year.
That's so exciting. I love that both of your savory recipes are like savory breakfast recipes.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, how can I have a baked good for breakfast?
Yes. Yeah. So it's like, there's like, I touched on hardly anything, but there's like some amazing like sandwich breads, and we have a brioche recipe and just like really fun breads and tortillas and things like that, you would think if you're on a grain-free diet, you couldn't partake in, but we're trying to figure it out for people.
No. And I think keeping it simple and accessible is really what most people need, especially when it comes to baking. And you're doing that in a healthier way, which I really appreciate, especially because I love when my clients have balance. I love when they eat, obviously the Fab Four. I'm really into protein and fat, fiber and vegetables and all the good stuff, right? Like how can we get greens on your plate most of the time? But I also, there is something about celebrating, and there's something about, having that tortilla or having a piece of, brioche on the holidays, and knowing that you're not just deciding this is a quote unquote cheat meal and I'm going to go get X, Y, and Z at a store or whatever. You're like putting that love into it, and knowing that it's not going to, it's not going to have the inflammatory response that you're getting from everything that's processed and shelf stable.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm sure like it just kind of reminds me of what I really truly believe. And like, I'm sure you agree with Kelly, is that nourishing yourself in that way is like the ultimate form of self-care. You know, you're like by like taking the time to like make yourself, you know, something like, you know, a muffin or something that's a treat that, you know, is like good for you, healthy, all of that within moderation. Like that's self-care. Like you're taking care of yourself instead of going to, you know, the local, I don't know, place down the street and getting like the sugar full version. You know, you're taking it a step further and actually, you know, taking time and giving yourself the healthy option too. It's been an absolute blessing to have had the opportunity to stumble upon this, you know, lifestyle that can be so healing. And it's come full circle. Like, you know, I was that person who had to quit my job. I was so sick, was told, you know, you probably won't be able to have a baby naturally. Like you aren't having a period for some weird reason. And it's come absolutely full circle in that my autoimmune disease does not show up on paper. You know, I had a baby, I was able to nurse him. And the amazing thing is after I weaned my baby at about a year, I worked with my nutritionist to get weaned off my thyroid hormones. So I was taking Armour thyroid, and amazingly, I now do not have to take anything. I'm not taking any supplements for my thyroid, and I'm in complete remission still. So it's come full circle. I fully believe I've healed my body through food and this lifestyle change. And it's been an incredible journey. And I just want to share it with people.
Well, I'm so glad that you had the time to share it with our listeners today. And I mean, you're a complete inspiration to me and such a sweetheart and an awesome mom and a good friend. And if anyone is in LA, definitely visit the Palisades location. It is like blush velvets and just a really great place to have a sweet treat and a really nice latte or superfood latte. So,
Kelly, you are an inspiration, dear friend, and super mom as well. And it's such a pleasure to know you. And I love your book. I recommend it to people. It's amazing. And the smoothies are delicious.
Oh, thanks. Well, it's so awesome to have you on. Why don't you tell people where they can find you and follow along? I know your Instagram is mouthwatering. So share where people can follow along and get to know you a little bit better. And if there's anything else exciting other than the savory book too, and potentially chocolate chips, which makes me so excited.
Totally. So for cakes and our Sweet Laurel products, you can visit us at www.sweetlaurel.com. Our Instagram handle is at Sweet Laurel Bakery, where you can find lots of fun recipes and whatnot. And then personally, my Instagram is at Laurel Gallucci. And there I kind of get more in depth about mommy life and my son Nico and healing through food even more. So please follow along. And I look forward to sharing baked goods. Maybe I won't be in the same room, but you can bake them at home. Come into our store and enjoy them, or in various grocery stores as well.
Awesome. Well, thanks for being here, Laurel. It's always a pleasure. And I'm going to come see you and Squeeze Nico soon.
Yay. Okay. Thank you, Kelly.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Be Well by Kelly. Please subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Learn more at BeWellByKelly.com and follow me on Instagram at BeWellByKelly. I would love if you picked up my books, Body Love and Body Love Every Day. They're sold on Amazon and at all major booksellers.